Um, this is going to be a rant, but I'm going to talk about this particular subject. I know it's long overdue, but I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. It's about this former YouTuber by the name of Heavily Controller. And they were saying things about how Heavily Controller, you know, kind of changed up his looks and his personality while he was on YouTube and all that stuff. Some people believe that the YouTube fame got to his head, and and others believe that the only reason why he changed up his looks and his personality was that he was trying to attract the females. And to tell you the truth, I think it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. He probably felt as though as that, he was probably feeling himself, when it came to his YouTube fame, and also he was trying to get the girls, so he had to switch up his look. But in my honest opinion, I don't think he needed to do all that because when he switched up his looks and when he, changed his personality, that's when he became somewhat mainstream. And those mainstream girls, aka females, was, checking him out. And then he was checking out this one particular girl. Now, all of a sudden, he caught a case from this girl. But then come to find out the girl was lying. And I said to myself, damn, he got caught up. And it was, and I'm gonna be real with you, man. It was kind of like a lesson learned for him because he should have stayed in his lane. If he would have stayed in his lane and just kept on doing what he was doing, eventually he was going to, meet the right girl that was best for him. But instead he chose to switch up his looks and his personality. Yeah. And plus he was feeling himself with the rise of YouTube fame. And I have to agree with some YouTubers was saying that how, females don't like nerds, which is true. They don't like nerds, but they like the conventional man who's into nerdy things, which is very true. But at the same time, when it comes to pure nerds, there's nothing wrong with improving yourself, like working out and, like switching up your wardrobe a little bit, like your clothes and all that stuff, wear suits and ties and all that. But you don't have to be too mainstream to the point that you're willing to change your whole outlook and your inward look. You know what I mean? Don't go too far to the point that you're willing to change your whole self completely. You don't want to end up like Heavily Controller, with the whole new persona and a whole new look. Just tweak up a few things about yourself, and that'll be it, man. But for the most part, you keep your core essence. You know what I'm saying? You stay who you are on the inside. Fuck the people, Fuck the naysayers. Fuck the people. Number one, they don't know you. And number two, they don't know, they're not living your life. So fuck them. Just be who you are on the inside. But ain't nothing wrong with improving little things about yourself. Because, in life, there's a thing called evolution. You know what I'm saying? The more you know, the more you grow. So ain't nothing wrong with tweaking up a few things, man, in order for you to, to make yourself feel better. But for the most part, man, when it comes to self-improvement, a little bit like tweaking little things about yourself, make sure you do it for you. Don't just do it for other people's approval. Don't just do it for the bras, man. Do it for you. And that's what happened to Heavily Controller. He did it for the bras. He did it for the fame. He wanted that attention. He wanted that attraction for the females, and that was his downfall. And to all the fellow nerds that's listening to this, man, ain't nothing, like I said before, ain't nothing wrong with tweaking little things about yourself, like as far as working out, because health is key. You know what I'm saying? Fitness, total health is key. You live longer and you feel stronger. So ain't nothing wrong with working out, working out physically. And when it comes to your wardrobe, ain't nothing wrong with wearing like suits and ties and, little things to tweak up your wardrobe. But for the most part, man, you stay true to yourself. You keep your core essence, you know what I'm saying? Keep your core essence about yourself, man. But there ain't nothing wrong with tweaking, tweaking up a little things about yourself. But for the most part, keep your core essence. And make sure you do it for you. Make sure you do all that shit for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it for anybody's approval. Because look what happened to Heavenly Controller. When he caught that case with that girl, everybody left his ass. Everybody left him. His so-called friends that was there with him, they left his ass. They left him hanging high and dry. And now, for what I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, I could be wrong, but they said that Heavenly Controller had to delete his YouTube page. And that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate, because he was a rising, in my honest opinion, Heavenly Controller at the time was a rising star. He was a rising star when it came to YouTube gaming. And to see him go down like that, to see him fall from grace like that is very disappointing. But at the same time, it's also a warning too. When it comes to nerd culture, we should have gatekeep the. Nerds in general should have gatekeep the nerd culture, because by not gatekeeping the nerd culture, we let the mainstream people come on in, and these mainstream people are nothing but just passing buyers. They just passing buyers, man. They just going along with the trend. That's all. Because right now, nerd culture is in. But back 20, 30 years ago, nerd culture was underground, and a lot of people hated nerds. But now, since nerd culture is popular, because mainstream made it popular, and a lot of people who's a part of the mainstream has infiltrated the nerd culture. And as far as the nerds, the pure nerds, they should have gatekept that shit, because, in my honest opinion, the mainstream people, in a sense, diluted nerd culture. They basically diluted the brand of nerd culture. Because nerds have forgotten to gatekeep that shit. But it's okay though, man. It's a lesson learned now, man. I just hope that a lot of pure nerds can learn from this, man. Because nerds have to gatekeep this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be real with you, man. I think okay. Like, here's the thing. Deep down, I'm an average guy, but in the hoods or in the ghettos per se, I'm considered a nerd. But to other communities, I'm considered an average Joe that's into nerd culture. You get what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not a pure nerd like that, because, I like to play sports. And, I was into sports when I was young, going outside, playing different sports, basketball, football, baseball. That was my thing, But I was also into nerd culture. So I'm not really a pure nerd, but I respect the nerd culture. And to tell you the truth, man, I was into nerd culture ever since I was a little boy. Since I was a wee little boy. Maybe when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old, man, I was into nerd culture. But at the same time, I found the balance between going outside, hanging out with friends, and playing sports, and playing video games at the same time. So I found the balance. But, going back to the nerds, man, the pure nerds, protect the nerd culture. Do not let it become mainstream ever again. You have to gatekeep it, because if you don't, these mainstream people are going to infiltrate the shit again, and they're going to dilute the brand of nerd culture. You do not want that. So keep the shit underground. Because when nerd culture became popular back in the early 2010s, late 2000s, early 2010s, like around 2008, around 2009, 2010, it kind of pissed me off, because throughout the years of me living in the hood or in the ghettos, per se, I was considered a nerd because I wasn't a thug or anything. So, they considered me as a nerd because I was good at school and all that shit. But they disregard on how I was good at sports. I was average at sports and all that stuff. I was okay at sports. They disregard that. They were just, the hood per se that I lived in, they put me down because I was into anime and I was into video games and all that shit and cartoons and all that stuff. They disregard the part that I was good at sports or I was average at best in sports. Their main focus was putting me down because number one, I was not a thug, and number two, I was into anime, so they called me a nerd. And plus, I was good at school, so I was getting decent grades at school. But besides the point, though, man, nerd culture, and ain't nothing wrong with it, man. It just, guys can have different hobbies, and also when it comes to having different hobbies, to every man that's listening to this video, do not let people put you down because you're into nerd culture. Do not, especially, when it comes to females, if you're in a relationship with a female, do not let that woman put you down just because you have a hobby or you're into nerd culture. Do not let them females or people in general put you down because you have, eclectic hobbies such as nerd culture or etc. You get what I'm saying? Just just be you. Enjoy your hobbies, enjoy what you like to do, enjoy your fun, and that's it, man. Don't let nobody else put you down, man, just because you're into nerd culture and etc. Just do you. Be you and do you. But that's all I gotta say about that, man. That's all I gotta say. I felt bad for heavily controller because all he was trying to do was, get attention from females, and plus he wanted that attention from the people, from the mainstream audience, and he did, for a little while. But at the same time, it basically cost him his reputation. I said not as a YouTuber, but as a person, because they thought that Heavenly Controller was a predator, but he's not a predator. You know what I'm saying? That woman that he was dealing with, called him a predator, but come to find out he really wasn't. It was all a lie. It was all a fucking lie. And also that same female that accused Heavenly Controller of being a predator, that same bitch is not only an OnlyFans model, but she's also in the LGBTQ, organization. Ain't that a bitch? First, the bitch was an OnlyFans model, and now she's a fucking gay, and now she's a fucking faggot. Excuse my language. Now she's gay. Ain't that a bitch? You see how shit goes? You see what's that old saying? What goes around comes around. Look what happened to that bitch. She was a struggling OnlyFans model. Then later on, she became gay. Ain't that a bitch? So you got to be careful how you do people, man, in the real world, because you never know what might happen to you. But that's all I got to say about that, man. Shit, that's all I got to say. So yeah, man. So thank you so much and have a good day.